Okay, great stuff. Let's do exactly the same thing for labor. There is no difference. Labor is an input, right? Labor is an input. And so the principle here is that we are expecting, again, so it's very much about what are we expecting to spend on making this output. So we made 1,000 units. We're expecting to use 15 hours on each unit. So we're expecting, therefore, in terms of making 1,000 units, to use 15,000 hours. And we're expecting to spend £4.80 on each hour. And we can calculate how much you actually spent on each hour by dividing those two things together. Or you could just multiply £4.80 times, if you like, the total number of hours. £4.80 times that, and compare it with that, right? That's the principle. And that might be better and faster, actually. To just go £4.80 times 15,000 hours, and that tells you what you're expecting to use, on 15,500 hours, or what you're expecting to have spent on this amount of time, and therefore subtract this 69,750. But let's go back to our table here. So we're expecting you, it says here that 15 to make 1,000 units, we're all about inputs, critical. You're expecting to use 15 hours per unit. Therefore, 15 hours times 1,000 units takes us to 15,000 hours. That's the plan. You ended up using 15,500 hours. And you're expecting to pay £4.80 per unit. Therefore, you have made an extra 500, used an extra 500 hours that you didn't plan to. So labor is a really good one for efficiency, because you can really ask questions like, why have you ended up spending 500 hours more than the plan? And that's really this is the efficiency variance, if you like, 500 hours times the £4.80. Because my focus is just on this, I want to just judge you on this. I'm going to judge you on price in a second, but let me just judge you on this first. So when I do this, I have 500 times, of course, the £4.80, which is times £4.80, which is 2,400. So you basically have an efficiency variance, an adverse usage variance of 2,400 adverse. Now the question of price, again, I'll do it both ways. If I want to know how much you actually spent, 69,750 divided by 15,500, right? You paid 69,750 divided by 15,500, which comes to £4.50. So it says you spent £4.50 on each. So you have dropped from £4.80 to £4.50. So that's a saving of 30p. So you're going to go cheaper labor across the 15,500 hours. So basically you have saved, in terms of price variances, 30p on those 15,000 hours. So let's see what that saving is. 30p times 15,500, and that's 4,650. So you have a favorable variance here. So you have a favorable price variance and an adverse usage variance. So cheaper labor, they did more time, but overall it came out okay. So you have 4,650 minus 2,400 overall, minus 2,400. So the net variance is 2,250. I mean, the truth is, I'm not really ultimately, I mean, this is what the results were overall, but we've broken that down into a price variance of this and an efficiency variance of 2,400. And that's your labor variance. So again, the principle, I think, as long as you stick with the principle of making sure you understand that when I'm focusing on volume, again, here we are, this is standard quantity, that's actual quantity, that's standard price, the £4.80, and that's the actual price. So you can see here when we talk about formulas, we're just really looking at those relationships between standard quantity and actual quantity, the difference, times standard price, which is when I'm looking at a volume variance. And when I'm looking at a price variance, I'm really looking at standard price minus actual quantity times, if you like, actual quantity, right? Because I want to know what this difference is across the whole thing. That's what the variance really is. Yes, and that's the labor variance. So I'm just going to flick over really quickly to the overhead variance. And the overhead variance is exactly the same thing. I'm just looking at it from the point of view of a different price. Oh, hello. Oh, one second. Sorry about that interruption. And so very quickly, I'm doing exactly the same thing, but this time the price is different. Whoops, sorry. Because here, we're talking about a variable overhead. I mean, it's the same thing. We're just saying that we expect the variable overhead to be £1 per hour, and we expect you to use 15 hours per unit. Exactly the same thing, just that I've literally gone from here, I'm just going to do it here, where it's still 15,000 hours to 15,500, but instead of having £4.80, I have £1, if you like. And this is the actual price, so I can find, if you like, what this is, the 14,900 divided by, if I want to know what it is, 14,900 divided by 15,500. It probably will be messy. It is messy, 0.96 whatever. I wouldn't probably do it that way. I probably would just stick to what I was saying earlier. There's two ways to do it. It doesn't really matter. The key point here is that I know you should spend £1 times 15,500 hours, so you should spend £15,500, but you've spent 14,900. So the difference, of course, is £600. So that's what I know that you've done. And that's the adverse price variance. Although I could have done it from the point of view of 0.96, and that's the real difference across, right? I mean, that's kind of what we're doing here, isn't it? That's the price variance, that difference over there. But what is that? Well, that's simply £1 times 15,500, which is that, times, well, I know this already. I'm given 0.96 times 15, 0.96 whatever, times 15,500 is equal to 14,900. So I know that already. So I literally just want to be saying 15,500 minus 14,900. Cool, great stuff. So complete this, do this variable overhead one, get your answer, check to the book, make sure you're comfortable with it, and then I'll see you in the next video where we start looking at fixed overhead variances. Again, I think these are all early variances of revision, but they're in the text. One has to do them, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, carry on.